Hello, friends. I hope you're well. Welcome to a new episode of the podcast. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the importance of stopping being too nice. If you want to be more charismatic, more confident, assert yourself with others, and stop minimizing yourself in social, professional, or even personal situations, this episode is for you. For those who don't know the channel, you are on the channel Consultingfirst. We are a team of coaches. Personally, I support entrepreneurs who have a passion, an area of expertise, and something that motivates them deeply, to make it an impactful coaching business, to reach more people while being aligned with their values. Before we get started, if you enjoyed the podcast episode, if it inspired you, or if it moved you to take action in any way, I would be very grateful if you could take a few moments to subscribe to the YouTube channel and leave a comment or review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. It helps the podcast gain a lot of visibility, and it helps me know that the content I offer you helps and inspires you on a daily basis. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy listening. So why is it important to stop being too nice, and what does being too nice mean? Before we get started, I really want to give a definition of what being too nice means, because I know this is a topic that triggers a lot of reactions. Many people think that excessive kindness is a great thing, and that it brings great things. When I talk about being too nice, I'm going to be very clear about what I mean. Being too nice is not being empathetic, caring, a good person, caring for others, being a good friend, a good partner, a good sister, a good brother, a good father, or a good mother. Being too nice is a trauma response. Why is this a trauma response? Because it is a compulsion to want to be pleasant for others at all costs. That is to say, you have so internalized the belief that if you are uncomfortable for others, if you take up space, if you prioritize your needs, if you think of yourself, if you say no to others, then you will be in danger. You risk being rejected, not being loved, and so you have created this unconscious mechanism to protect yourself from facing situations of rejection, abandonment, humiliation, or whatever type of situation you may have experienced in the past. This mechanism has allowed you to avoid facing this danger again. As you grow up, you learn to be very nice to everyone, to say yes to everything, to really make everyone comfortable at the cost of your own comfort, of what is right for you, of what you feel and what you need. Little by little, you will build resentment towards others and towards yourself above all, because you will reach the stage where you will realize that you do a lot of things to please others without really pleasing yourself. Being too nice is not being empathetic. It is not thinking of others or taking care of them. Being too nice is a survival mechanism that you developed in the face of situations where you internalized the belief that it was dangerous for you to think of yourself, to prioritize yourself. It is really important to understand that every human being has needs, limits, wants to say yes, and says no at other times in other contexts. No one in the world wants to say yes all the time, has the resources to help others all the time, is always able to be there for others. That doesn't exist, okay? It is something important to understand and accept, because very often we are in this thing of saying to ourselves, well, no, I don't accept. I absolutely want to be there for everyone. Well, no, you can't be there for everyone, and that is completely normal. It means that you are a human being, you are not a robot. And besides, even if we take the example of robots, there is no robot today that is able to function 24 hours a day, to have the resources to serve humans all the time. It doesn't exist. So why do you think that you will be able to serve others all the time? To always say yes to others, to always be helpful, comfortable, pleasant to everyone. A computer needs to be recharged in order to function, and yet it is a machine. And you, who are a human being, do you think that you do not need to recharge your batteries? Do you think that you have the superhuman capacity to be pleasant all the time and to say yes to everyone? It's really important to understand that being overly nice is not a sign of inner goodness. It's simply a survival mechanism. And when I say that, there's no judgment. I've suffered from nice person syndrome most of my life. I'm just getting over it, and I still have to keep doing this work because I was the person who compulsively needed to please everyone, to be nice to everyone. You got a problem? I'll solve it. You got a problem? I'll save you. Above all, Above all, don't do me a favor. I don't need help. I don't want to cause anyone discomfort. I was the queen of that for years. And what I want you to understand about this is that it is really important to observe yourself and observe this compulsion that you have to always say yes, to crush your needs, to put them aside. Because in fact, what often happens is that we don't really do it for others. We do it above all because it is uncomfortable for us to confront this no that we would really like to say to the other. I really want you to understand that you can be a good person, an empathetic person, very sensitive, very loving, very good to others, and at the same time want to say no. At the same time want to tell people to go away. At the same time want to be alone. At the same time need to set boundaries in your relationships. That doesn't make you a bad person. What is harmful is to confuse kindness with benevolence. Excessive kindness is not benevolence. So, a question that I invite you to ask yourself, and that is really important, and that is why I really wanted to do this podcast, is that we really tend to believe that to be loved by others, we have to be very kind. In reality, it is quite the opposite that happens. It is really important to recognize this. There are many people who will not agree with this, but I can guarantee you that if you observe the situations in which you have suffered or in which you have felt abused, these are often situations where you wanted to be too kind, to fix everyone to the detriment of yourself. What happens when you're too nice is that people, unfortunately or fortunately, will perceive this excess of kindness as a flaw. And it is a real flaw. It's something that I want to say openly. I really recognized it in myself, this flaw of really wanting to please, of wanting to be liked. It's really something that I had a lot of trouble recognizing, because for me, I said to myself, no, but it's important to be a good person, etc. Because I had this definition of kindness that was wrong. When you're too nice, you show others how much you need their validation. You show them how much you lack this validation, how much you thirst for their confirmation, their approval, a bit like a child who needs the approval of his parents. By doing this, you give immense power to the people in front of you, whether you like it or not. What's going to be important is to ask yourself the question, what do you really want? Do you want to be liked by people? Or do you want to be respected by people? Be careful. When I ask you this question, it is a question that I ask myself constantly, and the answer is constantly. I want to be respected. This does not mean that we go to the other side. So, you see, if this was a spectrum, if you had a spectrum in front of you, being too nice is really on the opposite end of the spectrum. Being too harsh, too curt, too mean, that's the opposite end. And what often happens is that people who are too nice will tend at some point to explode and go to the other end of the spectrum and suffer the consequences on the other end. Because on both ends, there are very painful consequences. The goal is to reach a center, an internal balance where you feel that, on the one hand, you are faithful to your values, to your empathy, to the love that you have within you, the love that you have for others, and at the same time that you are faithful above all to yourself, to your needs, to your resources, to your abilities. You do this dance between the two that allows you to be in your center. So, it is really important to constantly ask yourself this question. Then, you'll see that when we talk about being too nice, there are really 3 categories of people who will tell you, no, but what are you talking about? It's important to be nice. It's important to be super nice to people. In fact, the first category of people are those who don't understand what it is exactly to be too nice. They have a definition of being too nice that is not the real definition, in any case, which is not my definition. They see excess kindness, politeness, as a form of empathy, of benevolence, which is not the case at all. Okay? You can be empathetic, you can be benevolent, and not necessarily be in excess of kindness, excess of politeness. Then the second category is those who benefit from your excessive kindness because it suits them. It suits them that you want to suit them. It puts them in a very comfortable position. Finally, the third category of people are those who are triggered because you hold a mirror up to them, and they don't want to question their own excess of kindness. They have a hard time questioning themselves. And those are really the three categories of people who are going to try to convince you to stay too nice. If you want to change the image you project to others, you're going to have to, little by little, in your behavior, in what you project to others, and in what you project to yourself, learn to detach yourself from this need for excessive validation. You see, excess kindness comes a little from this thing inside us where it's as if we hadn't eaten for weeks, and we were facing people who could give us something to eat. We're so thirsty, we're so hungry, we're so starving that we're ready to do anything to please others. Actually, that's really what I feel. Personally, at least, that's what I felt a lot in the excess of kindness. It was, I'm in danger, I'm afraid. I need you to validate me. I need you to confirm me. So, if you want to project a more charismatic, more confident image and really start to impose yourself in your relationships and assert yourself, you're going to have to project a different image. How are you going to do that? You're going to have to take inventory of what you're projecting to others, whether it's in your verbal or nonverbal language. What image do you project to others? Do you apologize excessively all the time? Excessive politeness. Do you say thank you all the time? That too is a huge sign of needing validation when you say thank you all the time. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. What does that show? It shows that you're uncomfortable because someone did something for you. What does it show when you're uncomfortable that this person did something for you? It shows that you don't think you're deserving or worthy of what this person did. So that's a big one. The third one is, how do you position yourself? What's your posture? Are you looking people straight in the eye? Are your shoulders open? Are you standing up straight? Are you constantly trying to hide, to minimize yourself in your posture, or are you adopting power postures? Amy Cuddy is an American, a researcher. I think she's a researcher at Harvard. She talks about it beautifully. She did a whole TED Talk on it, on power poses. She says that it's extraordinary how much our posture influences our state of being inside and what we send out to others. And that, for me, is something that I've experienced, but directly. When I was being bullied at school, I sent out this image to others of, you can do anything, you can get away with anything with me, I'm going to stay here. And when I started to change my body language, it was one of the most powerful transformations I've undertaken in my life. Then what do you say? How do you position yourself? Do you tend to nod a lot? A lot. A lot of nodding. A lot of validation of others. When we validate others a lot, we show others that we need them to validate us too. It's as simple as that. I really want you to take some time to think about this and remember that it's okay to be uncomfortable for people. It's okay to not smile all the time, to not say thank you all the time, to not apologize all the time. It's okay to take up space. It's okay to be uncomfortable, to be unpleasant for some people. Because ultimately, it's completely okay to be yourself and to allow yourself to be yourself. If I may add something, I would also tell you that your traumas and your past make you believe that it is dangerous for you to be uncomfortable for others, that you will be less loved, less validated, less accepted. But I can guarantee you one thing. You cannot be truly loved by being pleasant to others all the time. If you want to be truly loved, allow yourself to be truly yourself. Otherwise, all you're doing is creating the illusion that other people like you for who you are, when in reality you feel like you have to put on a show in order for other people to like you. And so, you're getting them to like a false version of you that they don't really like, because no one really likes someone who's nice all the time. There's no such thing. When I think of the people I am most attached to, they are not people who are always nice, who have no flaws, who are perfect, who are always kind, always excessively polite. No, they are real, raw people who can have flaws sometimes. And it's the same with you. It will be the same thing. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this show. Thank you for following it until the end. Don't hesitate to subscribe. We'll see you very, very soon. I send you lots of love.